This is Bruce Bochy, and you're listening to the Ranger Report.
Oh, the Ranger Report. Yeah, the Ranger Report. If you want the inside scoop, listen to the Ranger Report. Oh, here we go!
This is the Ranger Report podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the World Series champion Texas Rangers, from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter, Tyler Nilson, Kane McCutcheon, and CJ Berryman.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ranger Report podcast. I am Ben Dieter. He is Kane McCutcheon. We are here to talk a little Rangers baseball with you tonight on the Fans First Sports Network. Be sure to check out all of Kane's writings on the Fans First Sports Network about the Rangers. And here soon, I'm going to start doing some minor league pieces on Fans First Sports Network as well. And of course, you can find all my Rangers writings at Dallas Sports Nation at DallasSportsNation.com. Be sure to check that out. And then, of course, we are on the Comfort Air Online studio. We are happy to be here. CJ has the night off. He is otherwise occupied tonight. So, Kane, the Rangers, last time we talked was a few weeks ago. They were really struggling, and now they've won 7 of their last 8.
Yeah, what a turn, it's been in these couple weeks. Pretty much a complete 180, which was so key when we look at the bigger picture, because we kind of circled this month as, almost make or break for the season. And guys have stepped up. Guys throughout the lineup have stepped up. The bullpen has done an unbelievable job, especially recently with the lack of starting pitching. That's not even just because starting pitching has been bad. Obviously, it's been great, but it's not been available. There's been a lot of injuries. So those guys have stepped up. And, where we can sit here and name a bunch of guys that have stepped up, but really the whole team has just elevated their play. And, you hope it's a long-term run and not just a little week and a half spurt, but we're going to see over the next week. It's going to be very exciting to see which way, if they can sustain it.
And I wanted to start, we'll talk about another guy here in just a minute, but I wanted to start with the guy who I think has been spearheading this whole thing, and that's Marcus Semien, who's basically been the best batter in baseball since May 30th. He has been tearing it up. I mean, hitting for in the first series that he started, who was it against when he really turned around May 30th? I got to look that up.
Cardinals. Yeah,
against the Cardinals. He only had one at bat where he didn't get a hit or didn't get on base in that series. He either walked or got a hit every at bat. And for the last 2.5 weeks or so, he's been batting over 500. I mean, all of a sudden, Marcus Semien has not only found it, but he has really found it, probably one of the best streaks of his career. And it's lasted now for over 2 weeks. So I think this offense goes as Marcus Semien goes. We've talked about that before, especially in the World Series year. And then last year as well, when he was on, the team did better. But I mean, it really feels like that. Hopefully it's not a fluke. It's been over 2 weeks now. I feel like he is finally back, Kane.
Yeah, I mean, he's locked in right now. And to your point, what's funny was, before that Cardinals series was the Blue Jays series, and he struggled mightily in the Blue Jays series. And there was talks about, Bruce Bochy was asked directly, are you going to have to litigate playing time with some of your regulars? And they had that off day on that Thursday, and it was the first off day at home in months.
Yeah.
And then the next day he's locked in. He hits a home run, goes 4 for 4. And then ever since then, he's been, like you said, one of, if not the best hitters in baseball. And, like it or love it, or regardless of how he's playing, he's the captain of this team.
Yep.
He comes out every day. He sets an example. Even throughout his struggle, there's not a day Marcus Semien is out there. He's not out there getting his work in. He doesn't let his offense affect his defense. And that's a big thing. He's still impacting the game. But to see, him be this locked in offensively, it's a breath of fresh air, because that's a really big question mark. And that's a tough conversation, if you have to have it. And, I think there are a lot of guys in this lineup you can look up and down and say, oh, when he goes, the team goes. But I mean, it's pretty hard to deny that, as soon as he started playing well, the team has, been on a really, really nice stretch.
Yeah, we're talking about other guys. I mean, it seems like Wyatt Langford right now is hitting the ball really well. And we'll talk about another guy in a minute, but Evan Carter's doing pretty well, But Adolis looks like he is, I don't know if he's back, but he sure looks a lot more comfortable at the plate, and he has stopped wildly swinging at everything I've noticed, and that has improved his game a whole lot. And then a guy, of course, who just won AL Player of the Week, Josh Smith, who, by the way, if anyone deserves to be an all-star on this team this year, especially after he got snubbed last year, it's Josh Smith. So, I mean, it seems like everyone is kind of finally coming around offensively. There's still a few guys struggling, but even Jake Berger's looked a lot better offensively. So up and down this lineup, they're finally starting to hit like we thought they would, and they're finally starting to hit with runners in scoring position.
Right. Like you said, everyone, it's finally clicking like we sat here and talked about so many times. If it just clicks, they can start winning games, and it has.
Yeah.
We can break down case by case. You look at Wyatt Langford, he was one of the ones that really had a strong, pretty strong start to the season when a lot of his teammates were struggling, and then he kind of tailed off, but he's really picked it back up. He's hit some balls hard. Adolis Garcia has been a different player since his mental reset. I don't think that's an overstatement at all. He's taking quality at bats now, which is something you were not saying about him throughout the month of May and April. And so you combine that with, everyone else you mentioned. Josh Smith has just won AL Player of the Week. He hit over 400 this week, 11 hits, 5 multi-hit games. Like he tore the cover off the ball.
In a row, too.
Yeah. And, you look up and down the lineup and you're starting to get the results. And we knew that, hey, you don't have to put up 16 runs a night like you did in Minnesota to be able to win ball games with how your pitching is. We just saw him win a 2-1 game, and that's fine. You're going to have to win some of those. But we're finally starting to see what this offense can do when it's on. And, another factor into this too is that they're doing all this pretty much without Corey Seager.
Yeah.
And that's something they didn't do last year.
Nope.
It's very impressive to see, and you hope that they can take it and they can run with it. Now there's going to be weak stretches of a week where they're struggling to hit, and they're going to have to win on pitching like they have had to the majority of this year.
Yeah,
but you hope that overall, that right around where you mentioned was the turning point.
Yeah, you definitely do. And again, we talked about it off air, but again, guys coming off the bench. I mean, look at Ezekiel Duran yesterday. Ezekiel Duran had a really good game yesterday. Sam Haggerty has been great offensively and defensively. Alejandro Osuna hasn't been fantastic offensively, but his defense is unquestionable. He's great out there. So everyone seems to be doing their part right now as far as offense and defense. And this team has all year, even through the offensive struggles, their defense has been really, really good.
Yeah, and what's interesting to think about that is when you take a step back and look at the big picture over Bruce Bochy's tenure here. 2023, they win the World Series. Their defense was excellent, amongst the best in baseball. Last year, a lot of their guys, for whatever reason, just took a step back defensively. I mean, look at Adolis Garcia. His advanced metrics on defense were way, way down. And this year, they're back up. They're fielding the baseball, well, and that's what good teams do. They field the ball, they run the bases well. Those are two things that are very, very important to Bruce Bochy. And, I remember having this conversation with him when he first got here. It was like, and he's reiterating how important it is that we got to field the baseball, we got to run the bases. In 22, before he took over, they really didn't do that as good as they could have or should have. And now they're, it's a big part. It's a big part of a team's success. And it's important that, like you said, even through the offensive struggles, they didn't take their struggles to the plate and take it to the field with them. That's what good players do and good teams do. You don't hurt yourself even more. And they didn't do that. They've been really, really good defensively this year. Yep. Give the assistant coaches a lot of credit. Corey Ragsdale, Tony Beasley, out there working every day with the guys, making sure that they're locked in defensively. It's a big emphasis, and it's winning ball games. In one-run games, we talk about pitching, but defense is the difference in those two. It just goes unnoticed.
Yep. That is true. All right, let's switch to pitching. So if I had told you at the beginning of spring training, all right, we have a rotation of Nathan Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, Tyler Mahle, John Gray, and Cody Bradford, you'd have been thrilled, right? That's a great rotation right there. And then if I told you, but in June, we'll have one of those 5 guys, would you think that the Rangers would be sitting at 500, only 4.5 games out of first place?
Well, the first thing I probably would have told you is that I would not expect Jacob deGrom to be that one.
That's the one. He's the one that surprised me too. He's the healthy one.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the big picture that you just laid out, and you'd be nervous if if you told me that, I would be nervous. But I mean, guy after guy has stepped up. Look at Kumar Rocker yesterday, goes 5 out. Patrick Corbin, like no one could have
the pickle juice game
that he was gonna. No one could have thought that he was gonna step in and do what he did. The bullpen is obviously. I know we're gonna talk about the bullpen, but they've been huge. Everyone stepped up, and that's a credit to Mike Maddox and the job that he just does an unbelievable job. There's no one else you'd rather have as your pitching coach. But yeah, they've all stepped up. They've piggybacked off of each other, and I'm sure we'll break it down case by case. But as a collective group, it remains one of the best rotations, if not the best in Rangers history.
Yeah, and you look at that. Let's talk about. Let's start with Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter, a guy that last year had major struggles at this level. Major struggles. Couldn't get out of his own way. Couldn't. He was trying to be too perfect, I think, with his pitches. Then you look at the difference this year of Jack Leiter, and he looks like the guy that we signed. He made someone on Dallas radio look kind of dumb when, last year he and Jared Sandler got into it over Jack Leiter. It was Gavin. I think it was the G-Bag Nation that got into it with Jared. But anyway, Jack Leiter is looking like the pitcher we hoped he would be when we signed him. Like you said, Kumar Rocker's had a few bad outings, but when he is good, he is really good. Patrick Corbin is way better than we thought he was going to be. He's having almost a career year at this point, the way he's pitching right now, and then of course you look at, we'll go to the bullpen in a minute, but yeah, talk a little bit about what you've seen. You've seen lots of starts. Talk a little bit what you've seen from Jack Leiter.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty much night and day difference from last year. Obviously, I think the adjustments really, I think his turning point was the offseason. Yeah. He adds the kick change, and that pitch has been phenomenal. The two-seamer that really helps him out against righties. I think just him getting I think the biggest thing for him was, he was very focused on the bigger picture from the moment he got drafted and, kind of took that into some of his starts. I think just for him not having to worry about, and he's referenced this too, not having to worry about where am I making my next start here or Round Rock, that's huge for him. And that's huge for any young player, but especially for Jack. He's been around a big league clubhouse his whole life. And so, going back and forth to Round Rock to here is tough on someone like him. And he's just done a great job. I mean, it's so easy to, especially now in modern MLB where, guys are so good so fast. And, as time goes on, it feels like the less time guys spend in the minors. It's so easy to just jump off of a player's bandwagon when there's not instant success. Yeah. And Leiter, I think that's what happened in terms of a lot of fans, some media as well. They were out on Leiter. They said, no, he's a bust. But, I mean, good pitchers will develop and grow, and he's done that. He's been really, really good. I mean, when he's locked in. He knows he can be here. He knows he can get guys out here. And I know that's the same for a couple other guys we're going to talk about. But I think you're going to start, I think it's going to go up from here for sure. Yeah. I think it's far from the end for Jack Leiter. I think he's going to be a staple in the rotation just like you had hoped when you drafted him. And
people tend to forget, let's move on to Kumar, that, he did not have that much time in the minor leagues. And he's only had, 5 starts at the major league level, 4 or 5 starts. Like, you can't expect him to be what Jack Leiter is this year, when he has a lot less professional experience than Jack Leiter does. And he missed most of a season or more than a season with a Tommy John surgery on his arm. So, he has missed some serious time. And then here he is still at the major league level being productive. And when he's on, he's on. So Kumar Rocker, I believe, is going to be another Jack Leiter. The fans just need to give him a little bit more time to get consistent, because when he's good, he's good. And when he's bad, it's real bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's kind of working on some things. It's little things too, holding runners, not covering first was very disappointing in the Tampa start. And obviously, could argue cost him the game, but it's just little things that he's just going to pick up with innings. And, a lot of guys pick those up in the minors, he's here, and he believes that he can be here. He believes that he can get guys out here, and he can. He's shown that. It comes with time, with guys like that. And it goes back to the same thing I talked about with Leiter as far as, the seemingly growing impatience of fans and even media alike nowadays, because we've seen what the Paul schemes, not every pitcher is Paul schemes, No. Kumar Rocker is not going to be Paul schemes. And so, as he goes on, he's going to be able to improve on those, fine details and, like Jack Leiter's able to add a pitch here and there in the off season. And, I think just getting experience, getting innings under the belt, it's a tough balance for a 500 team. I'll say that for sure. Yeah. where do you contrast getting a guy like that innings versus, okay, we're still trying to win baseball games? And I'll say that, everyone knowing that the Rangers are wholeheartedly all in on this team, still trying to win, they're going to reflect that at the deadline, which is a broader conversation I'm sure we'll have. But I think with Rocker, it's there. It's about consistency and finding that consistency. We've seen it. And so I think he too is someone not going anywhere. They still want him to be a key staple of this rotation, especially as you look at like the guys that are in this rotation. They're not exactly young guys.
No.
DeGrom's in his upper 30s, Evaldi is, Malley, might be here next year, might not. So it's like these guys are, there's not pressure on them to go and be the next big thing, but they're going to have the shot if they can, take it.
But who else would you want someone like Kumar and Jack Leiter learning from? I mean, they get to talk to DeGrom every day. They get to talk to Evaldi every day. They get to talk to Malley every day. John Gray, who's had a lot of success. I mean, they've got these veterans that they can sit there and pick their brains on. And I think that is a great thing for those guys.
Oh, that's so valuable. I mean, we see it on the broadcast too. How many times this year has the broadcast shown Jack Leiter just picking the brain of Jacob DeGrom or Nathan Evaldi?
Yep.
It's invaluable. It's like you said, who else do you want to learn from? Jacob DeGrom, the numbers say is one of the greatest ever.
Yep.
Evaldi, 2-time World Series champ, been there, done that in the playoffs. Malley's logged a lot of innings. It's like, that's like the perfect situation for a young pitcher to go into, and it's paying off. You can see it. I'll tell you that for sure. Jack Leiter's success doesn't come without Nathan Evaldi watching every bullpen that he throws. They all watch, every live BP that they throw. And it feels like we've done more live BPs this year than we have ever. But they go out there and they watch them. They support each other. And it's feedback. And what I remember Jacob DeGrom telling me, I asked him about just advice that the rotation gives and how much do they bounce ideas off each other. He said all the time, take it or leave it, right? That's what they do. They're bouncing ideas off each other. They're talking, they're communicating, and it's paying off in the performance the way that they're just piggybacking great starts. But to your point, it's also paying off in the mentorship with the young players like Leiter and Rocker, and then some bullpen guys as well. I know we're going to talk about the bullpen, some young guys that stepped up down there as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the impact of someone we haven't even mentioned, Mike Maddox, and his impact on these guys as well. The Rangers' best I think top 6 or 7 ERAs in team history all have Mike Maddox as the pitching coach.
Yeah, that's definitely no coincidence.
No,
right? He knows pitching, and it's so simple though. I think a lot of the times when it comes to newer, younger coaches, like let's take Donnie Ecker for example. He knew hitting his hand, but it was a very complex thinking mechanism. And not everyone like that. I really enjoy talking to Donnie Ecker because I like the mental side of things. I like the ins and outs, the sticky stuff, but not everyone does. Mike Maddox is straight to the point, knows how to get it done. He's not going to, get you with all the numbers and the spin rates and all that, this, that, or the other. He knows how to get it done. And, it's simple and it works clearly.
He's rough around the edges, and I love it when you talk to him. He is just straightforward. He does not mess around at all. So how many innings professionally, minors and majors, do you think Kumar has, if you had to guess?
Oh, man.
I looked it up, so I know the number.
Okay. Let's see. He was at Hickory.
Mm-hmm.
He was at Frisco and Rock, but not for very long. I'm going to say 80.
For majors and minors, or just minors?
Majors and minors.
Actually, you would have been right on. It's 75 in the minors.
Oh, okay.
And it's 40 in the majors. So he has 115 total innings.
Wow,
that's all he's thrown though in his career is 115 innings.
Wow.
And I can even look at how many pitches he's thrown.
I mean, think about that's a lot of guys. That's half the season for a lot.
That's not even a full season though. That's what I'm saying. He hasn't even thrown a full season, not even close to a full, or that's close, but he hasn't thrown a full season worth of innings yet. So give this guy a break. But let's move on, like you said. Let's look at the bullpen. And the first guy I want to go with is a guy that we had all hoped would come around. And, last year did not look so good at the major league level, and that is Cole Winn. Cole Winn has looked really good this year for the Texas Rangers.
What a story. I mean, he's yet to allow an earned run at any level this season.
Yep.
Take this weekend and you'll see all you need to know about Cole Winn. Friday night, it's a bullpen game. The Rangers used 7 relievers to get the win. The plan in the script was that they were going to go from Martin in the 8th to Garcia in the 9th, right? All of a sudden, in the 7th, they get into a jam, and they need to use Martin to get out of the jam. Who comes in to pitch the 8th? Cole Winn. And he is lights out. Wasn't even supposed to pitch in that role. Gets the scoreless inning, bridges the gap perfectly to Garcia, who nails it down. You look at Sunday, he comes in, he does it again, multi-innings. I mean, look at where this guy is at, and you're starting to get some of that ROI on Cole Winn.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously not what you thought in 22, the first part of 22, when he was supposed to be, the top prospect in the team, the system, and, in your rotation. But look at what he's doing in the bullpen, and it's like, you start going down the list and you're like, man, this guy can pitch in leverage. We're going to talk about Jacob Latch. You're like, man, he's had success in leverage. It's like, your non-leverage guys are stepping up, and this bullpen is stepping up, and we're gonna talk about it. But this bullpen is so fun. They're such a fun group.
Yeah, I was about to say the left-handed version of Cole Winn pretty much this year has been Jacob Latz. He's had a couple of bad outings, but here lately, again, just lights out every time he steps out there on the field. These guys, when I remember a couple years ago in Frisco, they were like the 1-2 punch, kind of like Leiter and Rocker at Vanderbilt, where when they were pitching, you knew Frisco was going to win. That was the year Frisco won the championship. Yeah. Because they were just lights out for so long. And then both of them kind of fell off for a year or two. And it really looks like they have both kind of refound that, glory pitching where they can just get anybody out in any situation.
Well, look at what Latz did on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, think about, okay, what he did was impressive, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He goes in, and I don't want to understate that. He goes in 2 innings, run around second base, doesn't allow him to score. Think about the fact that less than 24 hours before that, they used 7 relievers. They basically had no relievers available. He comes in, he steps up, and even Bruce Bochy was like, it was about to get real sticky right there because Latz was about to be done. He'd thrown all the pitches he could throw. Then you're like just totally piecing it together. And what are you going to do? And, we might have had Ezekiel Duran out there after his scoreless 9th inning, But it's like, look at what Latz is doing. I mean, it's phenomenal. He's getting guys out, like you said, at a high level. He starts the bullpen game in Washington, dominates. He comes out Saturday, dominates. And it's like, Bruce Bochy's been high on him for a minute too. Even before that, he was like, that's a guy that, could maybe pitch in some more leverage. And he's giving you results. Winn is giving you results. And it makes that bullpen so much longer and so much better. And I know we're going to talk about the rest of the guys too, but especially when you factor Cody Bradford and John Gray back in there, it's like, hold up, this bullpen, it's looking real nice.
Yeah, and you'd look at, you said Washington, he pitched three and a third innings, struck out 7 in that game. I mean, he looked great in that game. And again, against the White Sox, he pitched 2 innings, struck out 3, didn't allow a run or an earned run, so he definitely is looking good. But yeah, I also wanted to talk about, besides him, Jacob Webb, another one, Chris Martin looking healthy again. And what about Luke Jackson, who has, no matter where Bochy seems to put him, he seems to be able to get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know how to sum up the bullpen, watch Luke Jackson's post-game interview yesterday.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So funny. He's a great interview.
He is.
No, I mean, Sean Armstrong said this the other day. The bullpen is a bunch of journeymen, and they've bounced around. They've been overlooked, and they've been lights out. I mean, Hobie Milner. Tenured by the Brewers. Look at what he's done. Sean Armstrong comes in and, man, 3 perfect innings, ties a career high in strikeouts and innings pitched. And he's so funny because he was starting on Friday, obviously, and he's in the clubhouse opening baseball cards. And, I was like, I'm not going to talk to Sean today. He's a starter, right? You don't talk to the starter. He just comes out like usual, comes out, throws with the relievers, and, he's talking to everyone. And I'm like, man, and then he's locked in. Jacob Webb, all of them are locked in. You're so glad that Martin's injuries did not, because that was not looking good. I mean,
no, I thought he was probably done for the season.
Talking about a 40-year-old with elbow and shoulder as a
dude. He's got as much gray hair as I do, man.
That's not good. And for him to do what he's been doing, and really this whole bullpen has stepped up. You got to give Chris Young a lot of credit, because these are guys that your average baseball fan, honestly, I won't even say your average baseball fan. These are guys that I had barely heard of maybe one time. Like Hobie Milner, I'm like Jacob Webb, Sean Armstrong. These are guys that aren't household names at all.
Yeah, the only ones when they came here, Chris Martin, Luke Jackson, and then Robert Garcia were the only ones I really knew anything about.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a group that's entirely new.
Yeah.
Built together, strung together. Give Chris Young a lot of credit for what he's done to rebuild that bullpen, because it's been lights out, and it's been, that's why I always say I don't agree with spending money on bullpen. I really don't. I don't agree. I mean, the guy, obviously, like, the guys, Josh Hader, Alexis Diaz, Diaz, you're going to give them the big money. They're going to get the big outs. But, I mean, you look at what you're paying some of those guys. Like, there's a lot of really good relievers out there that you can find on a bargain.
Yeah, and the Rangers did. All right, so let's talk. You mentioned it, and I did want to talk about this before we get off air tonight. Let's talk a little bit about the trade deadline that's approaching after the All-Star break, because people keep asking, are they sellers, are they buyers? Because, if you're going to be a seller, some of those guys we just talked about, the Luke Jacksons, the Hobie Milners, now I'm drawing a brain fart.
Yeah, I mean, you look at pretty much all those guys are on one-year deals, right? Like, Chris Martin's going to be of value somewhere. Hobie Milner's going to be of value somewhere. Garcia's not going anywhere if they're selling. Like you said, Jackson probably is. I think Tyler Mallett, we're going to play both sides here, and I'm not saying they're selling.
Yeah.
No,
but I'm saying these guys would all be available if they were.
Right. Tyler Mallett is someone that you would probably look to move as well, and you would probably get a lot back for. Maybe Adolis Garcia is also.
He was another one I was thinking. Yep.
So if they're going to sell, that's probably how they're going to do it.
Sam Haggerty.
Yeah. If you can get someone in on him, for sure. But then let's say this right now: if the trade deadline were in a week, and let's say they continue playing the way they are, they're buyers, 100%.
Oh yeah,
is aggressive. It was proven that Chris Young is aggressive at the trade deadline last year. He could have sold last year. He didn't. He went out. He didn't make any major moves, obviously, but he went out and he added Andrew Chafin. He added Carson Kelly. He's been very aggressive throughout the off seasons, as we've seen. So he's an aggressive GM, and I like it. It's good. Your team's in contention. And I think there's also a bigger picture argument to be had. And I was on a national podcast a couple of weeks ago and was kind of talking about this. I think there's a point to be had where, are the Rangers at the point where, look at the media market they're in. Look at what the fan base expects. Is this a team that can sell and just get away with it? You look at the team and it's like, well, I mean, you have a lot of reasons to push in, even if you're not necessarily there. But, this year, with the way they've been playing, if they continue to play like this, they're going to be in first place by the time the trade deadline rolls around. They're going to be in a wild card spot if they're not.
Right now the Rangers are 1 game back in the wild card. That's it. Right, and they're only 5.5 games out of first in the AL West. So again, 5.5 games in mid-June is not anywhere close to out of contention.
That's a week's worth of baseball.
Yeah. And all it takes is the Astros having a 5-game losing streak and the Rangers having a 5-game winning streak.
Yeah, and they're right there. So to say this team is buying, right now, I would say, yeah, you can say that. To say they're selling, you definitely can't say that. I think we're still in that time period of this is going to be a huge make or break time period for the Rangers.
Yeah.
But I think to say that it hasn't gone well at this point, I mean, look at what we were saying the last time I was on here with you guys was the stretch we're about to go in is make or break.
Yep.
And I really don't think you could have asked for more going into that make or break.
No.
They're playing exactly the way you want to. And it's fun. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to do these shows when they're winning. It's fun to go to the games when they're not winning, but even more so when they are winning.
Yep.
And so it's fun to watch the games. The fans watch it. They're into it. And, give them credit. A lot of guys have stepped up and, it's trending in the right direction, no doubt.
Yeah, they're 7-3 in their last 10 with a plus 27 run differential. So, Of course, that was helped by those 2 games in St. Louis where they scored 16 runs.
Minnesota, yeah.
Minnesota, where they scored 16 runs.
No doubt. I mean, when I saw the run differential the other day, I hadn't looked. I don't look at standings. I won't even lie. I don't look at standings this early in the year, but scrolling through my game notes and one of those plus 25 run differential.
Yep.
I'm like, holy cow! Wow. I mean, obviously the 2 games, like you said, but. Goodness.
But still, they're still coming around pretty well right now, and their pitching is still good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's going to be interesting. I think on the next show we might float some ideas of who they could pick up at the trade deadline.
Ooh, okay.
I've had at least one person, actually 2 people on Twitter, messaged me and asked if we could talk about who we think the Rangers could pick up at the trade deadline. So we should do some research.
Those are always a good, fun time. This is the best time to be a baseball fan. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah, it is, right? Coming into the All-Star break and then the trade deadline. This is so much fun. Especially when your team is contending. Yeah, especially when your team is contending, which at this moment, like I said, the Rangers went from being, 6 or 7 games under 500 to back to 500 in the last 12 games or so. So that's a pretty good turnaround. And like I said, they're only 5.5 behind the Astros, and they're only 1 out of the wild card. So, and again, standing watching, I don't do a lot of it, but when I get ready for the show, I still wanted to look it up and see where they were at. So, because it doesn't matter at this point of the year. We've seen, like last year, remember the way Houston started and then they won the division. So just because you started bad doesn't mean you can't win. Right.
We can rattle off calendar. I always mention the 2021 Braves. On and out at the trade deadline, they win the World Series. I mean, look at how many teams have just rallied back from tough starts and have, gone on to make deep run. Look at the Mets last year. The Mets were horrendous last year, and they make a comeback right around when they came here, actually, and I can make a run to the NLCS. So it's like you're never out of it. It's fun. It's not 23 fun, where 23 was the perfect year.
It was.
They win the World Series, but even throughout the year, right? You get all the All-Stars, you make the moves at the trade deadline, and then you're like, oh man, this is fun, Yeah.
And then you have the bad September, and they turn that around and win the World Series. It was an incredible year.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe this will be an even more incredible year. But I will say, for them to come back from the start that they have had.
Series.
There you go. It's fun. And the trade deadline is going to be fun, especially if this run keeps up. Yeah. Man, the trade deadline is going to be fun.
So you and I both agree they're going to be buyers at the trade deadline. They're not going to be sellers.
At this point,
unless they lose 20 of the next 25.
Right.
If they do that.
I'm not even saying if the trade deadline were tomorrow, they're going to be buyers. I'm saying with how I think that they're going to continue playing.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to be buyers with Chris Young.
They have looked like a different team in June than they did in May.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, guys have stepped up, and it's been fun to watch. And hopefully they can keep it rolling. Hopefully it becomes a month-long run and not a week and a half long run.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the month, we could look up and they're right there. And so it's going to be exciting to watch, and, hopefully it keeps going up and it's another fun summer at the ballpark.
And Kansas City is a good team, but they're not a great team, and they're struggling at coming in. They're 2-8 in their last 10. So
Kansas City is really a team that has underperformed expectations this year. You look at the injuries, Cole Reagan's on the IL. They've had some injuries in the pitching. Seth Lugo had an amazing year last year, and he's not really been that guy this year. You look at what Chris Bubich has done. Oh my gosh. I mean, who could have expected that? He has been insane. Yeah. Obviously, you've got Bobby Witt Jr. can always do his thing, but his supporting cast has kind of taken a step back a little bit this year. Vinny Pasquantino, although he started playing really well in the last couple weeks, he got off to a horrendous start to the year. You look at some of their outfielders, haven't really been their outfield group. It's been amongst the worst in the league, and that's why part of the reason that Jack Caglione is up when he is. But it's an interesting Kansas City team. They're kind of hovering right around the same mark record wise as the Rangers. Yeah, they haven't really been that team that we saw last year that wins the division and. Not wins the division, but you know what I mean. Plays in the wild. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of Royals team are we going to get coming in. We know Bobby Witt coming back home. He's going to do his thing. He always does when he comes here. Quite frankly, he always does no matter where he is. But
he loves Texas because that's where he's from. So.
Right. So we'll see what they get on the pitching front. Winnable series for the Rangers. And I know if you even want to back it up and talk about the big picture, June's pretty good schedule for the Rangers. Obviously play the White Sox, but you've got some teams that you look at and you're feeling like, okay, we got a shot to beat them.
Yeah, and so Seth Lugo tomorrow, so that ought to be a pretty good game. Lugo against Leiter, that ought to be a pretty good game. Both guys with ERAs in the threes, both guys with a lot of strikeouts, both guys with a low whip. So it ought to be a really good game. And then I don't even know who's pitching the next two for the Rangers because they probably don't know yet. So
right.
But you'll have DeGrom in there for one of them. So it ought to be a really good series, like you said, very winnable series. If they can win tomorrow, that would make it 5 in a row which would be really nice. And we put them back over 500 for the first time in a while. So be a really good game for them to win. Hopefully they can win it. If not, I feel like they can still win the series. So it ought to be a pretty good series for the Rangers.
And to your point, no one knows who's pitching at this point. We go to the ballpark.
No.
Sometimes I go to the ballpark and I don't even know who's pitching. I'll be honest with you.
No, usually you guys don't know until he says it right before the lineup comes out.
Yeah, I'm like, we see it on the lineup. We're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But no matter who it's been, they've stepped up to the plate, and it's been huge, absolutely huge.
Yeah, that the last few weeks is the question I get the most is, hey, who's starting today? I'm like, I have no idea, man. I'm as lost as you are.
Yeah, that is that's been a common one in my mentions for sure.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, this has been the Ranger Report podcast. We enjoyed it. I wanted to mention one more thing. I do have an extra one of these.
Oh, that's a cool bobblehead. That's one of the better bobbleheads, I will say.
It is, and it's right back there behind me. I can't point my finger that way. Right back there on the shelf, the actual bobblehead. That's not the one that came out of this box. This is an actual bobblehead. I'm not just going to send you the box. So what I'm going to do is I want you guys to go to our Apple Podcasts if you have Apple. If not, go to YouTube and subscribe or leave a comment on Apple Podcasts, hopefully a positive one. But if you want to leave a negative one, that's fine. You can leave a comment and then tweet me and tell me X me, whatever it's called. That one that used to be Twitter, and let me know you've done it. And I'll put you in the running to win that. And I'll pick one random person and send that bobblehead to you. So I'll give you guys a couple of weeks and then I'll send that out. So probably around the All-Star break, I'll send it out to somebody.
All right. Well, hopefully I win.
You already have that. You already have that bobblehead.
If you want to leave a comment about how I don't ask good enough questions, because that seems to be a popular thing.
Always,
Whenever we're not winning,
ask them why they suck.
Go ahead and comment about that. Before we sign off, Ben, did we ever talk about our covering the games together? We did that.
I don't think we did. Yeah, you and I were at two of them, Monday and Friday that week.
Ben was in the house a couple weeks ago, Monday and Friday. It was fun times. I put Ben on the Arlington Eats concession stand. I forget. I think it was.
Oh man, it was good, man.
I think it was El Tiempo Cantina that was there.
It was good. It was real good.
So I put Ben on that, and we hung out. Great times, man.
We did a TikTok. We did a TikTok from the field talking about the St. Louis series, which we were 100% right. We knew they were going to win 2 of those 3 games. So.
Oh, 100%.
Sure. But no, it was a lot of fun. We finally, after 4 years together of covering, that's the first time we've covered the same game together.
I know. Yeah, it's been fun.
We did it twice in a week.
Didn't realize that Ben was an actual person.
I thought we was just a floating head over here. I didn't realize it actually existed.
But yeah, he's been in the house, and hopefully come back soon. And we're gonna.
Kane got to discover I was just as ugly a person as I am on YouTube.
So. I got to see the beard in person finally.
You did, you did. So that was a lot of fun. So anyway, leave us a review on Apple or YouTube. Leave me a comment on Twitter to let me know you did it, and I will randomly select somebody to win that bobblehead. It is, like Kane said, it's a really nice bobblehead. I really enjoyed it. I'll post some pictures of the one I have on Twitter so you guys can see what the actual bobblehead looks like. I don't feel like grabbing it off my shelf right now, so I'll just put some pictures on Twitter.
Cool. I'm a big giveaway guy. I'm sometimes a tough critic on the giveaways. I won't lie. If it's a merch, I don't always wear it. Yeah. The giveaways this year have been really good. I'll be honest.
And we got the one coming up this week, the World Series, the last out.
I know. I'm going to have to get that one later because I will not be there on Tuesday.
Oh, man. And I really wanted that one, but I can't be there either. So
yeah, no, the giveaways are really cool. And you look at some of them that haven't even been announced, like the Adrian Beltre statue replica. That's going to be so sick.
Yeah, I got to be there for that one. That one's got to go.
And they've released some of the other ones, like the Corey Seager bobblehead they just released. The giveaways are A+ this year.
And I do have an Adrian Beltre jersey that I'm working on getting framed, and then I'm going to put it up behind me. So it's not there yet, but it will be soon. I've got a Beltre jersey. It's probably going to replace the hat over there. The
City Connect hat.
Yeah, the City Connect hat. I'll put the City Connect hat somewhere else, and I'll probably put the Beltre jersey right there. So
this is the last year of City Connect, so you gotta.
Yeah, well, I'll still keep the hat. I have 2 of them. That's my display one. Then I have one that I wear that you saw. You were there when I bought that one.
Yes, Ben copped himself a nice City Connect hat. I don't wear the City Connect stuff that much. What's your take on that? It's going away next year. What are you?
I like it. I'll keep wearing it. But yeah, I don't wear it that much either. I prefer the classic Rangers hat. But I don't mind the City Connect. I think it's nice. It'll be interesting to see what they do next year for that.
Yeah, they're going to do something to keep it within. Yeah. But I really like what the whole story behind it is so cool. My first baseball game actually was a Fort Worth Cats game. So seeing that,
that's cool.
going there to cover it, and I was probably like 2 when I was game, but going there to cover it and hearing the story behind the City Connect that is Fort Worth.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's so cool. And, seeing the hype video. I don't watch the hype videos. When the City Connect hype videos plays,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm proud to be from here.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
So I hope that they keep it something, they're going to do something cool within the metro of course. But
yeah, it ought to be another cool one.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with it next year because obviously they do have the option to renew. You don't have to get rid of it every 3 years, but the Rangers are going to do it.
Yeah, I've heard that they are not going to use the same ones next year.
They will not use the same one next year. Every team so far that has been able to renew has done so. And honestly, if you look across baseball, a lot of the second ones have been better than the first ones.
Yeah,
at least the Astros for
the ones I've seen I've liked them better. So hopefully the Rangers do better on their second City Connects.
I think they will for sure. Hopefully.
I think they'll do a good job. I was worried about the first one until I saw it, and then I was like, okay, this is pretty cool.
I'll say this: if anyone cares about my opinion, please white pants. No.
Yes, I agree.
Let's go with white pants.
I agree. I do not like the navy dark pants. No, I'm with you on that one.
Let's go with white pants. Let's do a nice jersey.
I wanted the all white uniform, like with the City Connect jersey and the white pants to go with it, but they do the dark pants. So.
And while we're at it, if anyone cares what I have to say, wear the red hat.
No, I was about to say, bring back the red hats, man.
Give me the red hats.
In fact, next show, I'm going to wear my red hat just in protest.
I know. Man. Bring back the red hats. My first year on the beat, Friday night was red night. The red special red hats with the special text and the red jerseys. Those are sick. I think let's bring those back. Especially growing up, like when, the 2010, 2011, 2012 teams, they were wearing red at home. Like, come on, let's bring that.
I'm glad they brought Ranger script back. You remember before they weren't allowed to do that, just had Texas on the chest?
Yeah.
Like the Ranger script is, I based one of my Ranger Report, logos out of that text. So
yeah, overall the rebrand is sick. The Rangers have some of the best jerseys in baseball. But I just think let's throw the red hats in there every once in a while with the white jerseys, and let's get a good City Connect with some white pants. I
love the powdered blue, but I would trade them for the red.
No, the powder blues are my favorite.
I love the powdered blue, but I want the red back. So.
Something about showing up on a Sunday with powdered blue.
It does look nice. It does look really nice.
Those are like some of the only non-white or gray pants that I can do.
The powdered blue. Yeah, that is pretty nice.
They're sick.
Where is it? Yeah, it was a giveaway at one game. I've got a powdered blue hat.
Oh yeah, that is sick.
I like that one. So.
I don't like the powder blue on the road. More teams are doing that.
The Rangers only do it at home, which I like.
The Cardinals, when they played us, they wore it on the road. The Royals, they just brought it back this year. They've been spamming it. They've been wearing it all the time.
Yeah, they have been. You're right.
On the road, I don't like it. Keep it at home, but it's nice.
The Phillies also have a powder blue one. So
there's nice too.
Yep. All right, this has been the Ranger Report podcast. Thanks, Kane, for joining me tonight.
Of course.
We had a lot to talk about, and we will have a lot. We'll probably do another one later this week because there's so much going on.
I love coming on, so anytime you send me, I'll be here.
That's awesome. All right, guys, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys listening or watching, and see you guys on the next one. Deuces.
Go Tigers. It's College World Series. Go Tigers.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.